Hello and welcome to Shikara Academy's UPSC Mains PYQ series. In this series, we will be discussing all the GS Mains questions asked by UPSC from year 2013 to 2024. Today is our day 14. Let's begin. This question was asked by UPSC in last year General Studies Paper 1 2024. The groundwater potential of the Gangetic Valley is on a serious decline. This is the statement given. How may it affect the food security in India? A 15-mark question to be answered in 250 words. Now, it is asking how the groundwater potential of the Gangetic Valley that is decreasing, how it will affect the food security in India. Mapping it with the syllabus, we can see it has come from the geography part of the subject is geography. Distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent. So this is the water as a resource and its distribution in Gangetic Valley. Moving on to the approach of the question, we will be using the tried and tested IBC method, that is the introduction, body and conclusion. In introduction, we write the answer, we introduce the answer by describing the significance of the Gangetic Valley, the water level in the Gangetic Valley, and then we connect it with the body with the connecting line. Then in body, we write the causes of the groundwater decline and its effects on the food security. So we address the demand of question. So demand of question is dealt in the body. Then in conclusion, we summarize the answer and write a way forward. Now introduction. The Gangetic Valley, spanning states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Punjab, Haryana, is an agricultural heartland of India, producing a significant share of the nation's rice and wheat. However, the region is faces a serious decline in groundwater potential due to over extraction, inefficient irrigation, and climate change, posing a grave threat to India's food security. So we have introduced about the Gangetic Valley here, and in the second line, we connected it with the main issue, that is the decline in the groundwater potential. And the reasons we will be discussing now. So what are the causes? The reasons are the over extraction for agriculture. Over 85% of the groundwater in the Gangetic Valley is used for irrigation, especially in water intensive crops like paddy and wheat. So in states like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, and in Bihar as well. So the paddy cultivation takes place, and which is a water intensive crop. Inefficient irrigation practices, flood irrigation and the lack of micro irrigation systems lead to significant water wastage. So in India, we have a lack of these micro irrigation systems, and most of the irrigation is done by the method of flood irrigation, which is highly inefficient and it wastes a lot more of water. Then there is climate change. Erratic monsoons and rising temperatures reduce the natural recharge rates and exacerbating the water scarcity. So the lesser amount of rainfall or the erratic monsoons is also a reason for the declining groundwater potential. Urbanization and pollution. The river pollution is a major issue. Increased urban demand and contamination from industrial and agricultural runoff, which diminish the usable groundwater. So the discharge, the sewage discharge, the discharge from the factories, the industries, and agriculture runoff, which is the water that is high, that has a high level of pesticide, high level of fertilizer. All these they seep into the underground and contaminate the groundwater. Now, what are the effects? We have discussed about the causes. Now, what are the harmful effects on the food security per se? How the decline in the groundwater potential is impacting our food security? So, one is reduced agricultural productivity. The Gangetic Basin produces 50% of India's rice and 85% of its wheat. Declining groundwater directly reduces yields of these staple crops, threatening a national food supply. So, wheat and rice are our staple crops that the majority of in India that eats in its basic diet. So, a reduction in the yield of the wheat and rice will directly impact the food security. Shift in agriculture cropping patterns. Farmers may be forced to switch from rice and wheat to less water intensive crops like millets and pulses, which may not meet the country's large food demand. Millets and pulses, even though more nutritious than rice and wheat, but quantity wise, we will not be able to produce them in such a large scale, and which will prove to be insufficient in feeding such a large population. Food inflation and economic stress. Lower production leads to higher food prices, disproportionately affecting poor and vulnerable population. So, a decline in the yield, decline in the productivity will lead to increase in prices. That ultimately gives the food inflation. Threat to green revolution gains. The success of India's green revolution was built on groundwater fed irrigation. Depletion risks reversing these gains, increasing dependence on food imports. So the gains in the 1960s and 70s that we have got with the Green Revolution, these gains will be reversed and we will not be self-sufficient in food production. And again, we will reach a condition in which we will be importing the food grains. Land degradation. Excessive groundwater extraction causes soil salinity and alkalinity, further reducing the crop productivity. So if we extract more and more of groundwater, the soil, it becomes saline and alkaline, which further reduces the crop productivity. Increased farmer distress. Crop failures, rising irrigation costs, indebtedness can push farmers out of agriculture, destabilizing food production systems. So the farmer stress in India will increase, and you know that majority of the population in India is still around 50% of the population in India is still directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. Now, in conclusion, we summarize the points that we have written. The serious decline in the groundwater potential in the Gangetic Valley poses a direct threat to India's food security by undermining agriculture productivity, destabilizing staple crop supplies, and increasing the food prices, increased inflation. Now, we provide a way forward, like a forward looking conclusion. The urgent measures such as promoting water efficient irrigation, crop diversification, and sustainable groundwater management are essential to safeguard the nation's food security and rural livelihoods. So, this is our way forward. The PDF of this model answer will be available to you on Shikara Academy's WhatsApp channel as well as Telegram channel. Thank you.